its nuclear program, roll back key aspects of the program, and to include unprecedented access for international inspectors. Now, that's the White House's take on this. What's yours? Can we really expect to get all of this done?
Well, I think we will, but it's important to keep in mind, Kelly, that this is an interim deal. It's the first part of what is supposed to be a broader, comprehensive deal. And if that doesn't get done, this whole thing goes away. But insofar as what's going to happen on Monday, that's the real deal. The number one concern we had, and I would have as a nonproliferation specialist going into those negotiations, was the 20% enrichment. We don't want them enriching to 20%. We don't want a big pile of 20% sitting around that might quickly be converted up the grade to something that's closer to weapons-grade uranium. So they agreed to our number one demand, and in return we didn't give them their number one demand. They wanted banking sanctions relief, and we didn't give that. But they got some relief. But the big deal, so that's a big victory. We're going to have IAEA, no more 20%, and then having daily access to some of these sensitive facilities. But there's a lot of tough slogging left to do before any of this becomes final as part of a comprehensive agreement.
Yeah, well, Jim, you kind of answered my next question, because I was going to ask you what do we get out of this, and you've already stated that. But as we look forward to getting something out of this deal, let's keep in mind there are critics out there, some members of Congress exactly, who say this is not a good deal at all for the United States and its Western allies, that they're planning to introduce a proposal now to call for more sanctions to be implemented and imposed on Iran. The president, of course, as you know, says he would veto any sanctions. So what's going to happen here with Congress?
Well, yesterday, Kelly, I spent all day on Capitol Hill. I think I met 4 or 5 senators, some who have co-sponsored that bill that you're referring to, some who are refusing to co-sponsor. My own, and I'm not a political operative, I'm a non-proliferation guy, but my own best guess is that this is sort of in a holding pattern right now. I don't think it's going to move anytime soon, if it moves at all. I think it does pose a problem. We got, as I said, we got our number one priority agenda item in the interim agreement. They didn't, but the thing that we promised them was no new sanctions. We said we're going to top out here. If the agreement falls apart, we're going to come and slam you. But for right now, during this period, no new additional sanctions. And that bill would appear to be a direct contradiction of that. And the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, has testified that if they pass that, it would undermine the negotiation.
And if that is undermined, and the reason why it would be undermined is because of the Iran hardliners out there. But here's the question, Jim. Can we really trust Iran to work with the International Atomic Energy Agency for verification and confirmation and its limits to its enrichment capacity?
Absolutely. That's the critical question. And I think, I'm all about verification, and I'm all about actions and not words. And one of the great things about this interim agreement is the sanctions relief they're getting is sort of doled out a month at a time. But their obligations to the IAEA, they start on day one, stopping that 20% enriched uranium. The IAEA is on the ground, and now they have even more access. And the new thing that I learned yesterday is they're going to start issuing, they used to issue reports every 3 months. Now they're going to issue a report every single month. Wow. So I think we're going to have a pretty clear idea of whether they're following through on their commitments.
Well, you're indicating something very new that I think a lot of people are not aware of or privy to. And speaking of being aware and privy to, what about the transparency of all of this? Can we read the fine document that's out there? What's in the fine print between the United States and all the +5 nations that agreed to this in the first place?
Yeah, there was a sort of bit of controversy about that in the last couple of days. Often when you do agreements, you have the principles, and then you have to write down exactly how they're going to be implemented and how you define certain words and understand certain commitments. And that's true of every agreement. And people were thinking, well, maybe there's a secret side deal here. But when I was on Capitol Hill yesterday, I was meeting with about 15 Senate staffers who work on sanctions, and they reported to me that the copy of that agreement is available for congressmen, congresswomen, and their staffs to see.
So they can go through it then and really find out what they need to do to allay their fears, but perhaps not suspend their suspicions of Iran. Having said that, bottom line, what do you see out of this deal, Jim? We're moving forward.
Yeah, well, again, if we don't get a comprehensive deal, then this will only have been a temporary, 6-8 month boost. But it's great. It's great. This deal stops Iran from enriching to 20%. That, by itself, bar nothing else, is a good thing. So I call that progress.
Progress indeed, and certainly we need to see progress on that front in Iran and the Middle East. Jim Walsh, good to have you, sir.
Good to see you.
Good day. Julie?